Don't say fuck or bugger.
We're alive,
You can
bastard.
happily say cunt.
We're alive, bastard. So don't say fuck or bugger.
We are live. Here we go. Wait till we get some viewers and then we are live.
We are.
Can you say comments?
Yeah, I can see them on my phone. Are you on your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah. If you got if you get your if you got your laptop or whatever to handy, you should be able to see them, but you won't know, but be able to see them. Well, we'll kick off the show because we've got everything's live. Are we live on both sides? Pixie, if you can drop me a message, just to say we're live on both sides, and then we can kick this up.
Kick it in the shitter. Where is Mr. Paul coming on or not?
He's hopefully coming on the end of the show. Fingers crossed he comes on the end of the show. I know he's busy at the minute. Yes, both. Sweet. Well, good evening and welcome to Endless Banter episode 86, I believe it is. Yes, I'm right. This is the post VAPER EXPO 2020 London show. Joining us tonight, as you can see, we haven't got Mr. Paul Harrison. He possibly will come in on later on. We've got Kevin from KRV. Good evening, Kevin.
Good evening.
And we've also got Mr. Richard Worrell from KRV also as well. Good evening, Rich. And we've got somebody who's sat behind or disappeared or wherever he is, but currently he is at an expo somewhere. If you would like to show your face, fella, we'd appreciate that. There it is. Good evening, Phil.
Hey, what, mate? It's not busy here anymore.
Pack down for you must be shit, mate. If you're still there, fucking pack down must be shit.
Mate, I'm still here in October.
So let's start the show as we mean to go on. Kev, how's your week been? What you vaping? What you have for tea? And how are you, mate?
Vaping birthday box. I got a new one in the post today. It's a nice little white one.
Show off.
Tea. I haven't
Show
had
off.
any yet. I'm drinking some wild cherry Lucozade.
Fucking living
Living the dream. Literally living the dream, Richard.
on the
But how are you, Kev? Are you still tired from the weekend?
No, I'm good. I was bright and perky Monday night, Tuesday-ish.
I wasn't there.
As
I'll tell you
always.
that now before. I wasn't.
We know you wasn't, Tom.
I fucking wasn't.
You was done.
Yeah, I was 100%. So, Rich, what you have for tea? What you vaping?
Hello,
what you drinking?
I'm
How's your week been so far?
I'm from KRV. I'm based on this new BMI. What is it? BMI Micro. Ass vape, it's called. That's what it says on it. Anyway, it's an ass vape.
That's right.
It's fully ass vape. I had a baked camembert for my tea, and I'm drinking some ale. But yeah.
Oh, good lad. Having a nice beer. Can't beat that. And Phil, how are you? What you have for tea? What you vaping? What you drinking? How you feeling?
Right.
Where are you?
Where am I? That's a good question. Well, currently I'm sat in my office. What did I have to I had a McDonald's.
What did you have for McDonald's?
Good old trusty McDonald's. I had bits. and mozzarella sticks.
Nice.
The healthy option.
Go easy on that, Kev. Fuck's sake.
Diabetes in a bottle, that Kev.
Oh, you can't talk.
I've already got it, mate. I've already got it. Don't you worry about that. Does Phil live with Elton John? That's what Pixie wants to know.
Sorry.
Lives in him.
Pixie wants to know, do you live with Elton John?
Doesn't live with him.
No, but I can make it happen.
Give me a minute, I'll make it happen.
Tom, all I can say, how's your week been? What are you vaping on? And what you had for tea?
I'm vaping on 2 devices. I'm vaping on the new Narada with the Ribena juice. I'm actually, you know me, I do like using Ribena. Someone is with Elton John now. Good evening, Elton.
There he is.
He's gone in the clipper.
He's back outside it. Oh, no. Oh my god. Good evening, Elton. No, I'm vaping on that the new Narada, Ribena juice. You know me, I use my mouth to lung all day long. And I'm also using the new I think it says Modus. I don't know what it's called, but yeah. That's it. It's green, and my computer thinks I'm on a green screen because my mod's green.
Same height.
My mod's see-through.
You in
My
my
mod's see-through. I'm somewhere. I'm in your office. Look, my mod's in your office.
I need something.
I'm in your office.
No,
It
fuck
doesn't
you.
work. It doesn't work.
Mine works perfectly fine. Apart from I got a
you
little
look alright.
like, who is it? Who died?
Yeah, you could have had your piano sorted out. You know what I mean? You could have played as a tune in that.
There you go. Can't see now. There it is.
Well, let's get into the nitty gritty of what we called the VAPER EXPO London 2020 this past weekend. Let's have a little bit of a chat about what went on there. Obviously, Phil can give us his roundup of what he thought and the event totally, but we obviously, me, Kevin, Richard, obviously vended the show. And so we're going to go over our opinion on the show, what we thought of it, everything that went on, and just basically give you our opinion and a wrap up of the show this week.
Fill us in.
So yeah, fill us in. So we'll start off with Storm fucking Dennis is what we'll start off with. We all know Storm Dennis was a bit of a weekend killer for a lot of us, travel wise, getting in, getting out. What did you lads think of obviously the weather and the travel this weekend, boys? What was your ultimate sort of say on it? And we'll start with you, Kev, just to say what do you think of Storm Dennis fucking up our weekend a little bit? Storm Dennis.
Well, to be fair, obviously on the way back, as you know, was absolutely horrendous with the storm. But yes, I don't.
Let's stop Dennis for you, Kev. That was our fucking drive back.
Yeah, I had
Is that
2
my
trains.
signal?
I had to get for the centre of fucking London on a horrible, smelly bus with weirdos making funny noises for an hour and a half.
Go on, Kev. Tell us.
Yeah, it didn't help at all. I think, as far as we're aware, that it did cancel a few trains coming into London. So obviously, people who wanted to get there didn't actually manage to get there. So that did not help the turnout. So yeah, it didn't help the situation.
It didn't help the situation, but it was a good turnout still, though, I believe. It was still
Yeah,
successful.
he put downers on, didn't he, Rich? He put downers on, but I still.
It's only because, like Kev said, because of the way the trains were coming in, some of them were cancelled. You just had like a steady flow of people coming in through the door at certain set times throughout the day. But it was never, there's my train.
This is not going to end well. I'm going to have to hold myself back on some of these downsides.
Yeah, Rich, you said you had an issue getting back on the train. I didn't know that because obviously I'm not spoke to you from Expo to the day, so obviously I didn't know you'd had an issue getting back. What you see, you got delayed twice.
I had a mate called Tom, and he died.
Mate, you could have happily got him back at Luton. You could have got him the back of it.
Yeah, they cancelled the train from. I had to get like 3 changes on the way back. 2 of them were cancelled, so I had to get a London bus through the centre of the worst areas of London in the world in the middle of the night. And the Storm Dennis was basically mugging me off, I think, to be fair.
But here you are.
I am.
Survived it all.
Yeah. I set an act.
You had an experience.
A lovely old Asian woman, and she helped me navigate.
Yeah, I think the transport of getting into the show and then people getting home was definitely a Debbie Downer on the weekend because it stopped. I feel like it stopped a lot of people coming in.
I think it's the perfect location. Like on any other day, say in the summer or better weather, you'd have had flooding in because literally the train station was out the door to the left. It's like it was a perfect place for people to come, like to commute to. It was just a shame that the weather wasn't on our side, to be fair. But it didn't make the show bad in any way. I still think the show was really good.
Yeah, definitely. I think there was a lot of factors. I don't think it was just Dennis. I think the fact we had Dennis, we obviously had the weather wasn't the best, but we also had sort of the coronavirus. Oh, the whole thing of I know that was not like a normal factor for a lot of people, but obviously some of the manufacturers didn't come to the show, obviously because then there wasn't allowed out the houses in China. So if they're not allowed out of their house, they're not allowed on the plane. So that was obviously a factor of obviously not having so many vendors. Phil can obviously clarify that with us if the vendors that were booked in, if Chinese companies did sort of pull out because of coronavirus. But I think them two has played a major part in sort of people not being able to get there or not going because of that reason. I believe that. What about you, Phil?
Yeah, well, you look at anything from visitors to exhibitors. I mean, Professor Green was supposed to do a full set on the stage. He had to set up for one tune purely because his DJ rang him. He's like, I'm stuck in the middle of fucking nowhere and I can't get anywhere because the train stopped and he can't go any further. So obviously Dennis really fucked it for us. It's bad because we put obviously us exhibitors, everyone's put a lot of effort into the show, and when there's no visitors to actually see how much effort's gone into it, it puts it down on everyone. Obviously, the people that did come in, we've had mainly positive feedback. Most of the negative feedback we've had was from people who didn't even show up to the show.
I found there's a lot of negative feedback before the show even began by stupid people saying, "Oh, it's going to be crap. It's going to be this." If it was going to be that, then don't fucking say anything about it and don't go if you don't want to do it. Because all they're going to do is put a downer on the fact that other people want to go and they're going to think, "Oh, well, if he's saying it's crap, I'm not going." But it's just stupid. People don't want to go and they don't appreciate stuff like that, then they should just keep their mouth shut, to be honest.
To be honest, mate, I would love for them to come so they can see the shows, see how they are. They might change their opinion when they're actually there. I personally think, as bad as Dennis was, it actually had its positives as well, because with there being a lot less people there, everyone got an opportunity to have a good conversation with the vendors. The vendors got to know people. It wasn't sort of like a mad rush like our Birmingham one is, because there's like 15 people around your stand and you've got 3 members of staff on it. which, it was good for the people that did manage to find the way. The people that didn't, it's not like it's our only show. There's going to be future opportunities, and we've got May, we've got October, so it's one of them.
I feel like, and this is my honest opinion, and if you want to sort of double my opinion, you can more than welcome to it. I feel like people expected the show to be Birmingham when London was the first show you guys had ever put on, and they expected it to be all singing, dancing, all like Birmingham, when Birmingham is an established show. I didn't go with any expectations of it to be like London in the slightest. I was like, shit, there's going to be this many people, there's going to be that many people. It's literally like starting a fresh show. I said, you've got to take it, forget Birmingham, forget any other shows that have ever been in London before. Names of them events won't be named. You've got to take it as the very, very first show. And to be honest, for me, honestly, that's the point you said, Phil, about being able to speak to people and actually have conversations, and that was a massive plus. It was a huge plus to be able to conversate, because we know on a Birmingham show it is very, very busy, and you don't really you get 30 seconds to a minute when you're conversating with somebody to have a proper conversation with them. This show you could take time with people, you could actually conversate because it wasn't as busy. So I personally think that was a plus, a massive plus. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I mean, the first Birmingham show was like London. You've got to start somewhere.
The first Birmingham show was half the size of London almost.
There you go. Then I mean, you're already winning, because in all fairness, London was, even though it's Sean Denison, there wasn't as many people, like you said. It was a really good show, and it was nice and chilled out. Like you said, you just got to speak to people and get to know people better, it was nice instead of having to be like rushing around for hours on end non-stop.
I mean, it's not just Dennis. Like, you look at the hall, we had to walk around on the Thursday and the Friday trying to maneuver things around because we were still getting cancellations like on Thursday and Friday from the Chinese companies going, we was hoping some of our UK people would be able to help out, but they're not, and we can't physically get there, so we're not going to be able to attend. So we was walking around like lunatics trying to make everything still look appealing. At the end of the day, we love for our shows to look well, so we put an awful lot of effort into doing like the banners, the tunnels, laying the carpet on the floor, everything like that adds up to the final atmosphere. It's pointless an exhibitor having a beautiful stand, everything looking bang on, and then next to them is just a piece of floor with no carpet on it, and it's all taped up, and it just does not look right. So for a first ever London show that the VAPER EXPO has done, and like Tom said, it's not Birmingham, it's a completely different way of working. It's like you go in from one company to another, and they're expecting you to do the same, like a slightly different job, but you've already got the skill in it. Sometimes you will need to learn a few things. We had new people to work with. We had to arrange different things. A lot of things were completely different to the way the Birmingham show works. So it was a massive learning curve for us. And for what it turned out to be, I was really happy.
It was good. I enjoyed it. Really.
Do you know what the massive pros were for me for was? Like, where obviously they said the VAPER EXPO on the carpet, which was absolutely mint because we saw it from obviously being done to being actually up on the floor of the carpet. That looked amazing. But there was people obviously taking photos in front of the VAPER EXPO and obviously the date and everything like that as you walked in. And a lady, she must have been mid-50s and her daughter was probably early 30s. And they were taking photos in front of it, and I went to them and I says, do you want me to take the photo so that you're both in the photo? And they said, yes, if you don't mind. And I says, what have you thought of the show? And the lady said, this is my first show, with the older lady. And the young girl said, that's my mum. I brought my mum to her first show. To me, that is amazing because then she can actually walk around the show, she can enjoy the show, see it for what it is. And that's what, for me, appealed most, is that there is now new faces. London showed that there is new faces going to be coming to the event. So that's her first expo. Who knows, her next show might be Birmingham. So she's going to go to Birmingham. She's going to go and tell her friends, I went to a VAPER EXPO the weekend. This is what happened. This is what I did. I picked up this, picked up that. People who are friends who are vaping or maybe are smokers. And a different generation is going and speaking and saying, do you know, vaping, it's not actually that bad. And I went to a show and it was fun and I enjoyed myself and this about it. And that was a massive pro for me. I stood there and I thought, that's what we need. It's new people. The show for London, for me personally, was about getting a new demographic of people and a new faces of people to come through the show. You know, we need to grow it. It's not. You get all this hate online and stuff, and people saying, "Oh, it's not Birmingham, and it's not this, it's not that." It's a totally different show. It's a total different people who come into the show. So the show itself is aimed at someone who wouldn't go to Birmingham. So that's a plus for me. So I can only see the show growing on that aspect of things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I say, I'm really looking forward to it all. And like I say, I've learned, and so has the rest of the team, a lot about the venue, about how things work. And when we sort out another London show, it's going to just grow in its own strengths. And I would feel really unlucky if the things that happened to us happen again.
Yeah.
We really have bad luck to have another storm, another coronavirus, rail works. It's just, when it rains, it pours. And that's exactly what happened there.
I think give it a couple of years with the London Expo and it would be just as lively as the Birmingham ones are.
I agree, Richard. 100% agree. People have to take it as it's a fresh show. Let's be realistic. All the shows that have been in London haven't been as successful as that one. The show was pulled off really well. The organisation of the show was done really well on a vendor's part thing. You know what I mean? Bringing, as in the staff even coming around with the passes for vendors and stuff like that. Just the whole organisation of the show was amazing. Like, take that from Birmingham side of things. It's exactly the show wasn't put on any other way. It was put on exactly the same way as it should have been. It was pulled off really well. It was just unfortunate that people didn't turn up because of other things that was out of our hands, and it was literally out of people's hands, and people can walk around that show and take photos and say, yeah, there's not many people in here and it's not that, but the actual vibe of it was a cool vibe. You know, it was very enjoyable, and I think the only way that it can be is to go forward. You know, we can very much sit here and scrutinise the fact that there wasn't people there, but the show itself was pulled off really well. You know, people couldn't turn up because of issues of travel. You know, I honestly, and I said this to Phil, and I've said this to Phil after the show, you guys have to do London again. You've got to do London again, because I feel like if you was to say, no, we're not going to do it again, people then would say it's a negative. But I don't see any negative being on part of that show. That show wasn't negative at all. Everything about the show was a good show. It was just things that was out of people's control that they just couldn't do. Did you get more of an influx of new people coming to the show, Phil? Or would you say it was...
From what I've seen, there has been a good amount of ticket redemptions that were new email addresses, new people. It's awkward for me to say until I do a full scan and get a proper Excel sheet of new to existing customers. But there was a fair few people who were new to the VAPER Expo, which, you know, that's a plus in itself. Even if we 10 new people through those doors, 4 or 5 of them could have been smokers. For what we know, at least 80% of that could have gone out of the show with a device or with some sort of a starter kit, and they might have not been vaping since Saturday, smoking since like Saturday or Sunday when they came. They might come to Birmingham and might still be vaping then. So all in all, even if one person does that, it's still a success. We've still got rid of one smoker and turned them into a safer and a healthier alternative, which is what the show is for.
Yeah. I just want to touch on something, Phil. Obviously, you're the best person to speak about this, but obviously next week, obviously nobody knows this, but next week we're going to have the guys from Project Fresh on, and we're going to talk a little bit about Project Fresh. But I want to know what like the Expo's involvement is with Project Fresh, Phil. If you sort of like run over to the guys what Project Fresh is and how it's going to be working with the Expo and stuff like that, if you won't mind.
So Project Fresh started by Jay and Kev from Cinematics. When he first approached me about it, it's been a long journey since then. But when he first approached me, it was like mate, we want in. We want to help as much as we can. Obviously, they had a prominent booth at the expo. Anything they do, I support it fully. I share it on our social medias. I do mail out to them. I think what they're doing is absolutely great. How they went out with Mo from Dr. Vapes and Nick and actually got people to rip the fags up, throw them in the bin, got a device. Again, they're doing exactly what we want to do with the industry. We want to grow the industry. We want to teach people about vaping. They are a great involvement in the community from my point of view, and I'm just really excited to see what it develops into.
Yeah, but with you guys backing Project Fresh and supporting Project Fresh, I definitely feel like yourself as the VAPER EXPO as a show that appeals to a lot of people is a great thing to entwine with them. I don't know if people are familiar with Project Fresh. If you make sure you go out and go check them out. Paul's got an interview on there. It's basically a media outlet for smokers. Obviously, us vapers can watch it and get information off it, but predominantly it is for smokers, and it basically is giving out information from people who are vaping, whether they're a vapor or they're in their own companies or just generally one of the consumers. You know, they're putting the information out there for smoking, and I think that was amazing to have that sort of thing at the expo, because then people can sort of question it, and a massive thing to do with the expos is getting that information out there, and having the expo back in Project Fresh is a good thing. So as I say, if you've not looked up Project Fresh, make sure you go check that out. But yeah, as you said, they had a predominant stand and Professor Green was there. So as you say about getting like Professor Green, what's your thoughts on, like, because obviously he obviously is there as well, as much as a vapor as he is much as some people to go see him perform and stuff. Do you feel it brings a lot to the show, Phil?
I think, like with anywhere in life, someone who's got a massive following, such as Professor Green, I mean, I'm talking sort of celebrity level, to see someone go out and do something new, which some people are still unsure of. You still get a lot of people going, well, is vaping actually safe for you? Is it really worth me giving up my fags for? For someone like him to come to these expos, to have his own juice brand, to really try and advocate people, like you said, he was with Project Fresh. He gave his opinions. Those are live now as well. I think there's a lot of people who will sort of open up to it a little bit more and hopefully get a better understanding that, you know, vaping is the way forward. And if people like him are doing it, then what's stopping anyone else from trying it and giving it a blast?
That's it. I feel like, as you say, like on the celebrity level of things, celebrities don't really talk out about being a vapor. And for him to sort of step up, and obviously he has obviously monetary value in a company in vaping, but he also sat with Project Fresh and did his interview that is up at the minute, and basically turned around. And I'll be deadly honest with you, I watched his video and I thought, here we go, it's just going to be generic, and he actually spoke out, like basically knew what he was talking about, and it was a really good interview. But then you get other people. I feel like other people will be just like, it's just a celebrity trying to reel in a bit of cash, but he actually vapes. And I'm sure Callum Best turned up at one point as well, didn't he?
Show. He was just walking around. I mean, I saw him around a few booths. I'm pretty sure he's got some sort of affiliation with one of the ladies from Chief of Vapes or something like that. But yeah, he's a vapor as well. I'm pretty sure I've seen a couple of posts on his social media where he's actually vaping. Again, he's just seen a bigger picture to it all, and obviously joined into it all. It's great because again,
to have an icon to.
What are you saying, Rich?
It's good for the average Joe to have an icon to look up to, because a lot of people, they tend to follow famous people, and they do what famous people do. As mad as it sounds, but it's always good when famous people are doing something good for the community, like obviously Professor Green. It just helps. because you'll find that a lot more people would be more interested in the fact because he's doing it solely for that reason.
Yeah, and I find when they're actually at the expos, they're a lot more chilled. So, like Professor Green, he's a lovely guy, and like a lot of people got a chance to go and see him at the London show. There'd been a lot less people. People even got a chance to have a proper conversation with him. Callum as well. He was walking around. You saw people having photos with him. They stop. They will talk to you. They will, give up their time for you. But they do come to these expos sort of to enjoy the whole atmosphere alongside all the other things. So it's obviously,
at the end of the day, they are consumers as well as being celebrities. They are consumers, so they're there to see the show as much as anybody going in as a regular person is to see the show. You know what I mean? So for them to actually, even them just being there advocates for it. They don't have to put it on their socials. They don't have to do anything else. Just them showing their faces is definitely to advocate for it. And that can only help the industry with people advocating it over name. Sort of like, Kev being there, you know what I mean? People go because Kev goes and that, you know what I mean? Rich turns up because Kev's
there. They go because they know they got someone to take piss out of. That's what it is.
That's fine. I'm not bothered.
So, I'm gonna ask Phil. I'm gonna ask Kev and Rich this, and Phil, you could just listen to this. So, if we could change anything about the weekend, what would we have changed, and what could we have made possibly better? What could we have done? What do you think the consumers could have done? Is there anything that possibly could have been changed to make the weekend better than it was?
Fuck Dennis off.
I think, to be honest, I think it was a success in my eyes. I think the only letdown was the fact that it was difficult for people to get in. I think if it wasn't for that, you probably would have had easily another 30% more people come through the door. In all fairness, I don't think you could have done anything different. I think it was a really good show, very well laid out, very well organised. All round, there's not really nothing. I can't find anything myself bad to say about it.
Thank you. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but there we go.
Kev, you want to give us your opinion, mate? What was your thoughts on it? Give us like a thought over. Obviously, you did it from set up and pat down and everything like that. What was your thoughts on it?
So from setup and pat down, it was a lot easier, in my opinion, on setup, with the time slots being able to get where you need to be, get unloaded, and obviously get the stock out your van instead of struggling to get into obviously the expo hall itself. So obviously in time slot basis, it worked a lot better in that way, I think, personally, because you wasn't so major rush trying to get actually into the hole to get your stock in there, to then get set up. So personally, that was better in my eyes, and same with breakdown. Not everyone could pile at that door straight away as it was allotted time in, and I just think it helped just make it run a little bit smoother on setup and breakdown personally. The show itself, like Rich was saying, very well laid out. It looked good. Great venue as well. So you can't really, other than changing the weather and there was no trains cancelled and anything else, I don't think personally for the first London VAPER Expo, I think to my recollection it is actually slightly bigger than the first Birmingham VAPER Expo. So going along those lines, I think they all did very well for the organisation side of it.
I'll echo everything you've said, exactly the same. I'm happy with everything, how it went and everything like that. The only weird thing that weirded me out, and I did mention this to Phil, and I'll put Phil on the spot about this, I wasn't allowed to vape on Friday setup, and I was pretty pissed off about not being able to vape.
I don't know what you're on about, Thomas.
I'll put you on your toes on that one, bro. I wasn't allowed to fucking vape. and I had to wear a fucking high vis.
Well, you might have gotten away with it because it was Friday, but I found that out after you rang me at like 8 o'clock in the morning. So,
Wanker.
you look fine in the high vis anyway, Tom. It really suited you, mate.
It was all right. It was all right. No, go on, Rich.
If you want anyone crashing into you with a forklift, mate, fucking write it up.
Mate, I'm big enough to see without a fucking high vis, so let's get that one fucking straight before we say that. I don't need a fucking high vis. I'm a walking fucking reversing beeper, mate. Beep, beep, beep. No, I've got to echo everything that's been said, and I honestly, hand on heart, feel like there was no negatives about the show. God's honest truth, there was no negatives about the show at all. And I think the show itself can only grow. And that's the biggest positive to it, is that it wasn't the busiest, but we had a reason for it to not be the busiest. It wasn't the busiest because people just didn't go, fuck that, we're not coming and whatnot. I feel like the show itself basically showed up a lot of people who was negative at the before the show started. You know, like the actual show itself basically said, you know what, fuck you, we've done it, we've put it on, we put it on really well. People have turned up. If you didn't want to come, you didn't want to come. But the negative feedback, you're always going to get the negative feedback. But to do that prior to a show is kind of a bit of a shitter for me. Yeah.
Well, lads, you're not giving me much to go off here. I've not got a lot to put on the table, have I? And go, right, we need to change this, and this.
You did well. So don't change anything. Just make sure that you do it next year.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I want to put this out to people in the chat and anybody who watches the show afterwards, and I have said this to Phil, but would anybody, I'm just going to put it out here, it might not happen, it's just my thought, my personal opinions. I know it's not the Expos, it's just my thought. I said to Phil, what about doing a show in May in London and doing a show in Birmingham in October? That was just my thought. That was just personally my thought. Not having the show in Birmingham in May, putting it on in London, and then having the show. I've got obviously no ties with the Expo themselves. Phil is just a great friend of mine. But that was just my opinion on it. And I've got no contractual.
We're friends.
Maybe the next London Expo goes. I think your May and your October are always busy, and they're always worth doing. I think taking that away from Birmingham and moving it to London before you've had a chance in London to settle in, you want to give it a chance for it to make its mark first before you kind of like bump it around a bit.
True.
London next year could be massive. Then you've got May, then you've got October, and you've got 3 big shows then instead of back down to 2 again.
There's a lot to discuss, and with us all, you know, we all needed a day to sort of wind down and get back to normal sort of living atmosphere, lifestyle. The Expo, I mean, for you guys, like you're there from the Friday, you probably feel it almost as much as we do. You need that time to sort of just get back on track and, you know, have family time and everything like that. So we all came back into the office today with, you know, there's a lot to sort out. I had like 50 Facebook messages I had to go through, email, stuff like that. But there is going to be conversations about it all, seeing how we can work it. I mean, when we actually went to Olympia, February wasn't our most desired time of year to do it, but it's a busy venue. We could not get another time slot, and you know, people have been asking us for a while to do one in London. So it was like, well, if we can do it, let's just do it. Obviously, like you got the Chinese New Year and stuff like that right before it, which doesn't help. We had no idea about Dennis or any works being done on the railways or anything like that. So obviously that's completely out of our hands. But I think that there is going to be ways around the issues we've had this time around to fix that, and hopefully put on a 3rd show again next year to really get it where it needs to be.
Love it. So before we sort of come off the Expo, obviously in May is going to be the Expo at Birmingham. It's the 5th anniversary, isn't it, Phil?
It is, yes.
Have you got anything to tell anybody? Have you got anything to give us for Expo? Because obviously you've had to be planning it since last year. So have you got anything sort of to tell us that people need to come? That people still need to be up and ready to go into May? If they didn't go to London, they need to make sure they're coming in for the 5th anniversary. Got special you could tell us? Give us a bit of info. Obviously, we're gonna have you on before May. Don't get me wrong, we'll have you before the show, but
I don't know if I'm allowed to say anything yet, so probably not. No. There is a couple things which we're working on, which we've never done before. But it's sort of too early to mention it just yet. As much as I would love to just open my trap right now, I would have the conversation with Lee and Jay on Monday. That's the way I'll give it away. But there is a few new things going on, which...
Yeah, I don't want to get you in trouble. Don't want to get you in trouble. That's something I don't want to do. No, just for me personally, I always speak on my behalf because I don't want to speak on anybody else's. I just feel like London was a great show. Birmingham is always a good show. So if you didn't make it to London and you're thinking about going to Birmingham, you have to do it. But if there is a next London show next year, you have to go to the London show because there's 3 shows. I always say this. There's 3 shows in the UK, 3 main shows in the UK. That's it. Out the year. I remember when America was doing a show every weekend. The UK is not sat. The word I'm looking for is saturated. The UK Expos isn't saturated. There isn't one every 3 weeks. There isn't one every week. There isn't a vape meet every week. The shows aren't saturated. So, but to have 3 shows now across the year is perfect. Two was perfect. 3. Do you know what I mean? I feel like that is a great amount of shows for people to save, to organise, to get down, use them as holidays. Do you know what I mean? 3 shows a year is nothing, absolutely nothing for the UK.
Well, Tom,
you guys could
commented a really good comment, and if you say yes to it, I'll say everything.
Go on. What was that? Nikki has.
Yeah. Read it out loud.
So for some reason, I can't see the comment.
Okay, I'll read it. But, Tom, if you get Phil in trouble, you will have to pay his fishing fees for a full year.
I am not about to do that because I know Phil's fishing fees for the year, so that is not about to fucking happen. Not a chance in hell am I getting Phil in trouble, so I've got to pay his fishing fees. Not a chance. I know his fishing fees. It's not happening. No, to sort of wrap up the Expo, Phil, anybody out there that wants to say negative comments about the show and didn't turn up, please keep them opinions to yourself. A lot of time, effort, money went into the event, whether you was vending, whether you turned up to the show, whether you was the organizer of the show. These events cost a lot of people cost a lot of money for people to attend, whether they whatever part of the industry they are part of, consumers, businesses, organizers. It costs a hell of a lot of money. And if the negative feedback wants to be negative but doesn't want to turn up to the show, I'm sorry, but your opinion does not fucking matter.
Your opinion's void.
100%.
We will always accept constructive feedback. If someone has got an opinion which they think we can potentially improve on, please tell us. You know, we're not all perfect. There is mistakes that we will make. And we are always looking for things that we can improve on. You know, we can't just do show after show after show after show and keep them the same. There's a few things we're going to be changing soon. But, you know, if someone has got an opinion, if they've attended London, for example, and they can think of something we can personally improve on for the next London one, or if they've been to a Birmingham one in October, for example, and they feel like something needs changing there, please let us know. But if you're too lazy to get up off your sofa and you're going to sit there watching one of us do a live video and go, oh, wow, you've got like 6 people in the gangway. Well, if you was at the show, you would be there. Do you know what I mean? You can't expect the show to be I mean, I understand. London was.
No. I'll finish that sentence. That's a pet peeve of mine. That is a massive pet peeve of mine. I hate when people, and I said this on statuses on the Expo page, and I will wholeheartedly say this. I don't like people giving opinions on the shows and then literally not turning up. The only reason the only way the show is going to get better is if people go. Whether you are a vendor or whether you are a consumer who's turning up to the show, the only way for the shows to grow is for you to turn up. If you don't turn up, the show can't grow.
The only opinions that matter are from the people that went.
It's a massive pet peeve of mine. I want to hear people's opinions who actually said, I'm going to come off my keyboard, I'm going to come off my sofa and actually show my face and go to the show. You know, we have a massive thing in this industry about community and the community being so great and everyone being friendly and whatnot. And then people sit there and slag the community off and then don't turn up to these events. These events are as much community events and meets as much as they are anything else. I've not seen Rich since last year. I've seen Phil. I see Phil all the time because we're either on the phone or I go fishing with Phil, but that's not the point. Rich, you don't go fishing. But I don't get to see people every week. I don't get to, you know what I mean? Be in front of that person, spend time with that person, communicate with that person. So when I go to the shows, the biggest thing for me is to actually see that person and enjoy their company and have a laugh and have a giggle. And the main point that I'm trying to get at is don't think you're a part of this community and then just sit there and slag the community off, because get involved with the community, go to the shows, go see your friends that you talk to on Facebook every week, because guess what? If you go to the show with them people, you'll make the show better, you'll have a better time, and it'll make it better for everybody else. And that's just me getting that off my fucking chest.
You know, at the end of the day, it is a hub for the community to all get together under one roof, in one building. Everyone can come down. The vendors are going to be there. The visitors are going to be there. The businesses are going to be there. Everyone who has some sort of involvement in the community attends the expos, and you get that chance to have that personal one-on-one instead of having FaceTime or Facebook Messenger. You actually get to see them in person. You get to go and have a beer with them, have a vibe with them.
It's 3 times a year. It's 3 times a year. If you can't at least make one, then I'm sorry, but Nikki came all the way from Scotland.
We need 10 times a year.
Nikki came all the way from Scotland, made it on the Thursday all the way from Scotland. Came on his own.
The last time I seen you was in Hamburg, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in Germany. We obviously we speak all the time, but I don't get to see you personally, and that's the thing that really, really grinds my gears, because we have such a massive appeal about community and everybody being on Facebook. Take yourself away from Facebook for the weekend and go see them people that you've possibly never met in your life before.
And
go see. Do you know what I mean? You're going to have fun.
I remember my first expo and it was fucking awesome.
I remember mine, it was fucking stressful.
But these shows are what you make them, though, aren't they?
I get to see all of my friends. I mean, with me, obviously, working in the vaping industry, a lot of the people I'm friends with or associated with are vapers. So for me to be able to go and see you, go and see a whole bunch of people that I don't see apart from at the shows, apart from obviously texting, it's a brilliant plus. And I love that part of doing the expos, actually getting to meet up with the people and
community.
Yeah.
It's a massive thing, and it's very much it's overshined. The fact is that we do have that community vibe, and that's what everyone sort of leans upon, is we've got this community. But if you're not going to be a part of the community on outside of Facebook, then what is the point? I honestly don't get it. And this is just my opinion, because it really, really grinds my gears. It does. It pisses me off because I do want to see people there. I do want to see smiley faces. It's not all about us just making a load of money. It's you. Paul will say this, and he says it all the time. He would go to the shows even if we want vending because he wants to see the people that he hasn't seen. And if people go off that mantra of things of going to these shows, if you ain't got no dough and you ain't got money to spend there, still doesn't mean you can't get through them doors and you can't enjoy yourself.
Yeah. I mean, we try and give as many opportunities as we can to attend the expo. We do giveaways. We send out tickets to, we can't send a free ticket out to every single person, but we always do a random selection, send some free tickets out, and I love it, when we send free tickets out and I see people posting saying, I've got 4 tickets come through my door. I'm not going to be able to make it, or any of my friends want to use them. I'm just like, brilliant, fucking perfect.
Passing it on and doing it, yeah.
Back to the community.
Yeah, I just want to end on that. I just want to give my honest opinion to it because I just feel like it's very much lost. So if you want to go to these shows, please turn up to the shows. It's just a big vape meet where you can find shiny things to buy. That's literally what it is. It's to have a bit of fun, have a bit of beer, have a laugh with your friends. And I don't get the negativity about the shows because the show this weekend was put on amazing. Vendors turned up, consumers who could get there turned up. We just need a little bit more of a positive community to say, actually, do you know what? Fuck it, let's do it. Let's go. Let's enjoy ourselves. We'll pack up for the day. Even if you turn up for the day and you go in for 3 hours, go around the show and go home. You've been.
Yeah.
Just see it. Just see it. It's just, yeah, I have to get that off my chest because it riles me up. And I'm sorry that if anybody's offended out there that couldn't turn up because of other situations, maybe not Storm Dennis and you had to stay at home because you had kids and stuff like that. We totally understand that. We totally understand that.
100%.
Yeah, we totally get that. Just PM Phil for free tickets. PM is key. Ian Anderson.
Well, Ian,
I'm just gonna.
If I get loads of people, if I wake up to 30 messages, I hope you know I'm going to send them all to you.
I'm just going to go through a few of the comments.
Bear with me.
No stress. Stuff like Ollie from Morningstar. Good evening, sir. Says bang on. If you didn't trek it, you can't fucking comment. Venue was sick, easy to get to. You walk through the door, you were fucking there.
Yeah,
exactly. Neil Pugsley says the atmosphere was fantastic there. Met with loads of friends, had a laugh, got to speak to vendors about stuff too. This. Darren Stone says all I will say is remind some vendors that the show finishes at 6, not an hour earlier. What's your comment to that, Phil?
Shit, if they want to lose out on potential sales and they want to lose out on customers having respect for them, let them put their shit in boxes an hour early. At the end of the day, they've paid for the booth. They're there to put the brand out there, and it doesn't look very good when they're packing away 2 hours early. So it's entirely up to them. I mean, I'll ask to see if we can put something in place for that, but to me, that shouldn't be our problem. That should be the vendors using common sense and going, you know what, actually, I might get another 8 people come to my stand before they go.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people hit stands on the way out. They go around, they see what they want, and on the way out, that's when they start collecting their goodies.
Yeah, and they'll go over to a stand. Everything's in boxes. Fucking hell. Go home.
Go home, yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. You're right there. It's worth going just to have a big Tom hug. Mr. Vanner, I didn't see you there, mate, so you can't comment. You didn't come for a big Tom hug. And a damn for the. Let's have a look. It's just everybody seems to be positive. if that ain't a sick enough reason, takes a day to get round NEC. It really does take a day to get round NEC.
It does, yeah.
It is a very, very big show. A very, very big
Sometimes you
show.
walk
No,
around it and the next day you go, you've seen new things you didn't see the first day.
yeah, the two shows are just so wide apart for different reasons. For so many different reasons. Birmingham being such a big show, it takes a lot longer to get round. You've got to be there for the 2 days to actually see everything that goes on. It's not as personal. You know, there's pros and cons to both shows. If you wanted a more chilled environment, you wanted to be able to speak to the vendors, pick up the gear that you wanted, and actually have a bit of a giggle, London's the show. If you want something that's busy, mayhem, and the atmosphere is like beyond crazy, then you go to Birmingham. But the two shows offer two very different things, from my opinion. But do you feel like that's I think that's a good thing. You in agreement with me, boys? That's definitely a good thing. In the fact is that it is very chalk and cheese. The shows were very chalk and cheese.
Gives you two views on it, then. Like you said,
yeah,
the London show, it's much more relaxed. You get a chance to ask the questions that you want to ask and speak to the people you want to speak to. And then Birmingham, like you said, you go there, you know what you want, and you know it's going to be crazy, but that's why you're there.
A lot of people would go to London for the chill vibe, go to Birmingham. But Phil will tell you this, and Phil, I'm sure you will agree with me on this. People go to Birmingham. You disagree? People go to Birmingham, buy their stuff, and leave.
Yeah.
People didn't do that at London.
I know people who come to Birmingham and will spend 2 days walking around, getting a vibe for the show. Some people will literally walk around on the Saturday, get an idea for the show, and then go and do their shopping on the Sunday. Some people go.
I get a lot. Last year, I had a lot of people doing that. They had little lists and all sorts. That I'll be back tomorrow. I'm just walking around today. I do all my shopping tomorrow.
Yeah.
But then at London, I had a guy come to the stand 4 times on the Sunday. He was going. I think he bought a endless dirt in the end. But he come back about 6-7 times asking questions. He went away. He watched a review on the mod, then come back, and eventually he brought one. It's nice to actually get to see him and speak to him.
It's a good thing that there is vendors out there that are happy for people to do that. I feel like sometimes Birmingham gets that busy that someone will come over, and by the time they come back again, that vendor's forgot who they was because they spoke to 30, 40 different people. Now that's not a bad thing, but
are the items being sold? Because it is that mayhem that some of the items will go. Like we do a fair few 101s. And for me, Birmingham, you get your VIP. The reason I see people get VIP is because they're the people who know what they want to buy.
Yeah.
And they will come into the show.
Yeah. Go straight.
And they will
go to.
When I worked first show on the endless stand, the 101s, I mean, they were gone within an hour of the opening on the Friday morning. Gone. Like the whole cabinet was empty.
Yeah, because VIPs know what they want. They're going in there to buy what they want, and majority of them will stay for the 2 days. But I can see a lot of people getting in there just to get what they want and off to go. But they've been to the show. That's the reason they're going to the show, to do that, to get their bargains, get their gear, and off they go. But if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. But and then once again, you'll get the other scale of it, where, as Rich and Phil are saying, people got shopping lists and they'll go around the show, staking the show out, seeing what's there, seeing what's about. And then Sunday, they get that list out. That's a 3 A4 sheets of paper and go, let's go fucking tick off what I want to buy. and that's a good thing, because then the shows become that where yearly they are going to get their bargains, because let's be realistic, shows are also full of bargains.
Full.
100%, mate. Like every exhibitor had some sort of an offer on at the show. It's just how it works. At the end of the day, they're there to put a product in front of a consumer or a business, which then will get repurchased or shown on to other people, and it will multiply their sales. But again, that's just investing it back into the community, because those exhibitors then can go bigger and bigger and bigger. I remember exhibitors who first started our shows with 3x3 shell schemes. And now, let me just let the dog out. Go on. Sorry about
Keep disappearing out of your room, don't you?
that. Yeah, I know. And,
Considering your room's so big, your door's pretty close, isn't it?
it's literally right there. But yeah, as I was saying, like, we've had companies who have came to us, had a 3x3, next year they had a 3x6. All of a sudden they're having a 6x6, an 8x6, a 13x8. Some companies then start growing into even more strengths and end up having 3 big stands.
Yeah, which Endless started on a 3x3.
Yeah, which
And the
wouldn't
last
happen
October show, we had a fucking
coming to the shows.
yeah, we had a 3x3. The first ever Endless stand was a 3x3, and the last October show we had a 3x18.
Yeah,
and the only reason we can get that big is by the support of the community, by the support of the consumer. You know, that's the whole reason we can make everything bigger and better due to the support of the community. And if the community doesn't show up, then none of us can grow as businesses, and none of us can grow to give people offers.
At the end of the day, everyone's getting some sort of a positive out of it. Consumers are getting a bit more of a deal than they would if they went online or went to a shop, which then the exhibitors can invest into bigger stands, which means we can expand the show and we can do more features, we can do more interesting things. Don't forget, like, everything's in a circle and it's got to go all the way around for it to work.
Right,
Exactly.
My time has come and I've got to leave.
Are you out of here?
Yeah, man. Sorry.
No stress. Thank you ever so much for coming on. We do appreciate you.
It's been a pleasure to speak to you both.
And you, mate.
You got me up at 5, mate, haven't you, for work?
Yeah.
Enjoy. Thank you very much for joining us, Rich. I do appreciate it, and we'll see you soon. See you later, bro.
See you later. Well, I'm going.
You're not leaving me all alone. Not a chance, mate. I've still got to pick your absolute brains. I get what you mean, and as I say, different horses for different courses, and as Paul would say, every ass has a seat. Do you know what I mean? There's many different ways for the show to grow, and it does help everyone. You know what I mean? From you guys all the way down to the consumer. Do you know what I mean? It's the only way that we can go about it is by people turning up to shows, people supporting it, and just not being negative. Let's not be negative for once. Let's just enjoy the show for what it is, and just carry on there.
Yeah, at the end of the day, mate, we're all there to have fun, and that's all that matters. As long as you've gone to the show, you've had a good time, everyone's happy.
Can't moan at that. I do want to mention something which is very much off topic, but I have to mention this. I don't know if you know. Look at you going on holiday again. Fucking hell. Back in your house.
Back in my house.
I do want to mention, obviously, Paul's not with us tonight. He has got visitors. He has mentioned this in the chat, and I have had a conversation with Paul around this. But I don't know if you know about this, Phil, or if anybody knows in the chat. But Samsung have released a statement about sending out cease and desists. I don't know if you know about this, mate.
Yeah.
Samsung, the battery company, they've released a statement. Well, I'm going to do a little bit of a backstory first of all before we start talking. Sony released a statement in 2015 and said their battery cells were not to be used for vaping back in 2015, but they are still widely available for vaping. And also, Samsung did that, release a statement saying we know that our cells are being used for vaping. But Samsung have actually taken it a little bit further, and they have said that they are now sending out cease and desists to vape shops, vape companies, people who sell their batteries that shouldn't be sold for vaping. So a little bit of news that we may see Samsung batteries coming off the market very, very, very shortly. I don't know a lot of, you know what I mean? There's other batteries out there, but this is a massive thing for vaping, if I'm honest. What's your opinions on it, Phil? Like, what do you think about them sort of saying no? You will not use my torch battery as a vape battery.
I see their point of view because they didn't design them for those reasons. But at the same time, they need to see the bigger picture as to actually, you know, it's helping the community, and without those batteries, like half the stuff we're using won't work.
Yeah.
So
I think the reason they're doing it is through pressures of the higher power of basically they're covering their backside. That's my honest opinion. I don't know whether that's true or not. That is just my opinion. That they're literally saying, we're going to say you're not allowed to use it for vaping because of the negativity around vaping that has been last year and coming into this year. That's the reason I feel like Samsung have basically turned around and said, we've got to put a stop to this because of the negativity towards it, if I'm honest.
like you say, it literally, it just...
I'm laughing because Paul said, want Samsung batteries, inbox password.
Yeah, like I say, mate, I think they genuinely just feel like with everything that goes on and people not having the great knowledge of mech mods and using them in mech mods and everything like that, it just saves them costs of potentially getting sued, because at the end of the day, something happens that shouldn't have, the first thing that person's going to go is, oh, it was my Samsung battery that blew up, or
Yeah.
this, or it was that. So they're doing it for that reason. But at the same time, will their sales continue as they have done without having the batteries in the vape market? And will they feel a major sting from it? I know obviously they're like a huge company with like billions behind them, but
no, I 100% believe that. I feel like, as you said, they are a massive company that have got batteries in everything you can imagine, laptops, you know, power tools. That's what these batteries are made to be used. You know, they're not meant to be used as high drain batteries for vaping devices. But I definitely feel like people would see, even their company would see a massive decrease in that reason, because let's be realistic,
the batteries.
Well, people obviously then going to have to go over to places like Molicel. They're going to have to go over to Sony. You know what I mean? Then does Sony start cracking down? Molicel is the only battery that's actually on the market as a Vapor's battery is a Molicel. I don't know enough about Molicel to turn around and say that they're rewrap batteries or whatever they are. I'm not going to put that out there because I have not enough information to say that. But you know, 18650s now have been used for years and years with vaping. I feel like we've got enough knowledge that we know the safety of to use these batteries. I don't feel like we don't know. We do know what's going on with these batteries. There's a lot of information about the batteries being used as vaping. I just feel like they're doing it necessarily just to cover their ass. And is that really a negative thing to cover their ass? Not really. But in other aspects of things, it's going to affect.
To be able to do about it. If they want to put an effort to put an end to it, they will put an end to it. How they're going to do it, I have no clue. They alone has got what, over 2,000, 3,000 stores, online shops on top of that. How do you control all that without spending an absolute fortune? I do not know.
They'll just all they'll do is restrict the people who are buying them on wholesale to then supply them to shops. That's how they're going to restrict it. But I feel like a lot of vape shops will. Yeah, then I feel like a lot of vape shops then will put them down as not to be used as vaping. It's simple as that. Yeah. You put a little description not to be used as vaping, and then they become a torch battery. There's loophole to it, but you know what I mean. There's other cells out there that people can purchase. So I feel like it's can be a negative to them, but it's if you use 25 hours, start using VTC 5As and go over to Sony.
Yeah,
that's the only way.
Be an alternative for you, no matter what happens, no matter what Samsung does. There will be an alternative for Vapers to carry on just as they were.
And touch wood and all that. The Expo's never had any issues with stuff like batteries going off and stuff like that. So
I'll just touch your forehead then.
it's just what it is, really. If I'm honest. Have you got anything else that you would like to point out to us, Expo wise, or anything like that, Phil, or anything that people need to look out for, and where they can find your stuff? And
there's, social media, our website, which is currently under some development that restricts a few things, but you can find the Expo on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're always active on it. There's always a member of team on there. Any questions you might have, even if you think to yourself, that's a silly question, I can't ask them, just ask. The worst thing we'll do is just look at it and go, shit, how do I reply to that? And we will help as much as we can. Even if it's not Expo related, even if you want to know something about battery safety, even if you want to know something about devices or anything like that, feel free to come to us. We might not be the greatest point source, but we can definitely point you in the right direction or help out to our knowledge.
Yeah, 100%. While everybody's in chat, if anybody does have a question that they would like to ask Phil, please put it in the chat and I will relay the question. That would be very nice for us to put Phil on the spot and give him a few questions.
Well, Phil or Tom, catch the first 40. Sorry, mate. Sorry, done, isn't it?
I just have to go back to it, bro. Like, it always just. I know I'm repeating myself, and I know I say this and whatnot, but I always think that the shows, like, changed, and this is me being proper soppy. Like, I don't care. I'm just going to say it because it is on my mind. I know I've said it before, but the friends and people that I've met and people that have changed my life and the people that I'm actually friends with and everything like that is all through vaping. And people don't remember that vaping changes your circle of friends, all through wanting to stop smoking. That how my life has changed, working in the industry, the people that I've met, just how my life has changed just through vaping. And if a lot of people just sat there and actually thought about how this little industry, because it is a little industry, it's not a massive industry, it's a little industry for what the actual people who vape worldwide, it's a small industry, and how shit's changed for people, whether it's, people have gained a lot financially, people have gained a lot by jobs that they've got, friends that they've met, positions that they're in life, changed their aspects, made them healthier. Do you know what I mean? It always comes back to me, and I wear my heart on my sleeve, and everyone will say this, will tell you that, and I just feel like vaping has done a lot for a lot of people, and people still need to remember that vaping has done a lot, and it will carry on to do so. And the more we get the word out there, and the more we speak about it, and the more we're actually proud of our little industry, the more it will grow. And I don't want to be the person in the next 2 years be like, our industry's gone. I don't want to see that. And if it just means me shouting my mouth off and saying, come on, get your ass into gear, do this, do that, come on, let's do something as an industry and as friends. I feel like I have the platform like this to say that, to give my opinion on it, to say, let's kick it into gear, let's carry on remembering it is a community as much as it is anything else. It is saving lives. Even if it's putting extra years onto your life, if you've been a smoker before, it's a very positive industry, and we need to keep that positivity up and get these people to shows, get people vaping, get the information out there. Everybody should have. If you're a vapor, you need to be advocating for vaping and go into shows. That's me. I had to get that off my chest. Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest.
To be fair though, mate, you're perfectly right. And I mean, we can jump back, and it is a good one to go back to. Project Fresh. You've got friends or family who are smoking. Introduce them to the channel. Let them get an idea of what we, as individuals, have to say about it. How it's changed our lives. How we've got consumers on there. We've got exhibitors on there. We've got the organisers on there. There's different points of view, but it all leads back to the same thing, that vaping has changed our life, and we wouldn't be where we are now if it wasn't for vaping.
Yeah, you're right. You're 100% right. It's just, it it not riles me up. It just vaping itself has been very positive for a lot of people, and I feel like the positive aspect of vaping isn't always there. Do you know what I mean? If there's some negativity and stuff like that, and it's kind of like let's just carry on and whatnot. Also, in news, I just want to mention this as well. Did anybody know that Rip Trippers owns a fucking kids channel on YouTube? Did anybody know this? Did you know this, Phil?
No, I completely missed, mate. 100%. I mean, I'm pretty sure all about that. How those two connect, I have no clue. Some of the comments left on the channels are beyond me. I mean, an individual.
I just wanted to put it out there if you didn't know. Rip Trippers is also a child vlogger. Super bloke. Just go Google. Just go YouTube. Super bloke. That's all I'm going to say. Thank you, Paul, for that information. Putting that out there.
Diversity.
The biggest YouTube reviewer in the world for vaping. He's also a child entertainer.
I'd rephrase that one. Oh God.
It's yeah. So we've gone through Expo. The lads have left us. It's just me and you, mate. I think we should do Paul's status of the week, and then we should get out of here. And the status of the week for Paul is: if people showed their actual friends and family as much compassion as they are famous person they don't know from Adam, my guess is there would be less suicides. Stop playing up with the social media bullshit and interact with people you actually know, people who you suspect are in a dark place, people you know who are struggling. Social media ain't that fucking social on so many levels. I'd love to have enough money to buy them all and switch the bastard things off. So that goes back to what we said earlier. If you speak to people on social media about vaping and you are in vape groups and you don't turn up to stuff like the VAPER EXPO, it's really not that social media. It's not really that social. Turn up to the shows, have a giggle, have a laugh. Phil and the team do not put on these shows just willy-nilly. It costs a lot for vendors. It costs a lot for consumers. Get yourself out there, get to the shows, enjoy themselves. And May is only fucking around the corner. We're saying it now. On the 19th of February, May is only around the corner. I'm telling you now, we'll turn around in a couple fucking minutes, and it'll be May, and it'll be ready for Expo again. So if you haven't booked for Expo, make sure you go to Expo. Make sure you go get your tickets. Phil, what's the website? Where can they go get tickets for Expo? Will there be freebies sent out? Will people be expecting some tickets?
I think it's short. But I am thinking of doing something. So keep an eye on our social pages at VAPER EXPO UK. Keep an eye on the website, which is www.vaperexpo.co.uk. Shouldn't be too hard to remember. But yeah, there will be an opportunity for everyone to be able to afford to come to the shows. And yeah, I would definitely, if you've come to shows before, come down, meet your friends again, say hello to us. I might not personally know you, but you come over to me, start a conversation with me. You realise how much of a prick I am? No, I'm joking.
100%. 100%. I agree with you on that.
Everyone, and if you want to meet us in person, Big Tom's the same. You can go over, you can give him a big Tom hug, and then you go, oh, by the way, my name's Dave.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Community, and, for the shows to carry on growing, we need you there, and you need to be there so you can have some fun.
Wholeheartedly. I don't want to be at the stage where we're saying there's no more expos because consumers don't go. We need you. Let's be realistic. Us vendors need you consumers to be there to make the shows what they are. We're being realistic now. That's exactly what it is. You guys don't turn up, these shows can't go ahead. You guys turn up, those vendors will turn up. The expo will put on as many shows as you want, and you're going to turn up to. They'll do it. So it's got to be done. It's down to you consumers how big these shows get, how many times a year they're done, and it's just what it is. And that's me telling the damn truth. And Phil will say this as well. You consumers make the shows what they are.
Yeah.
So on that note, do you want to sign out, Phil? Do you want to give it? Where can they follow you? Where they can follow? Where can they hit you up? Where can they follow you on socials? Where can they message Phil?
Let me just quickly get my account up.
Yeah, where can they see you? Where can they, they can get all the information off stuff like that. But obviously they can message the page and stuff like that. But it's always nice to put a social media face to a profile on that.
Here's my profile.
Thanks, mate. If you are follow me on Instagram, Big Tom TVC, and if you are following Endless on Instagram, go over to Endless Mod UK and follow them on Instagram. And if you are following Phil,
here we are. It's going to be very boring. There's literally the post. I think I've got
fish on there.
No, there ain't. There's an expo photo.
I like that photo.
Free shit. More free shit.
Yeah. So as I say, anybody want any information, go onto the expo page. If you want any information about Endless, come directly to me, come to the pages. We as a community are very open. We will always talk to you. Just don't message us at 4 o'clock in the morning because we're more than likely to be asleep. So, we are very, this industry is the only industry I know where you can directly go to owners of companies. You can't go to fucking Bill Gates and ask him a question about your Windows computer, but you can message Big Tom about an Endless Mod. You can message Phil about an expo. These things are this industry is very open to the fact is that we are very accessible as people. So don't feel like any question is stupid. Don't feel like you can't ask us. Message away. We will get there in due course. But message us if you've got any questions or anything like that. Do it. This is where we are very much about the community as much as we are anything else. So on that final note, we're going to get out of here. Phil, thank you so much for joining us. Richard and Kev, thank you for joining us. Obviously, they've left. Paul, we'll see you next week. And Phil, I'll see you Friday.
It depends how I get on with all my family things. But
fingers crossed. Right, guys, thank you ever so much for joining us. Remember to like, remember to subscribe if you're on YouTube. Make sure you share the video. Also, go over to the VAPER Expo. Go like their page. They've also got a group. If you also haven't followed Shady Vapor, we've got it covered, or the Endless page. Get over there as well, and we'll see you shortly. Thanks again. Peace out, everyone. Good night.